So everyone, thank you for coming today. Moments ago, I signed a declaration of disaster as we have hundreds of thousands of customers without power, that is Encore customers without power here in Dallas County. And there's also Garland Power customers without power. This is not a generation problem like we sometimes have when it's cold or in the heat of the summer. This is a broken lines problem brought about by straight line winds. Now, we have several challenges moving forward. These storms are continuing. Encore crews are on the ground trying to restore power, and the way that they'll do that is they'll start with critical infrastructure. And currently, we may have one hospital without power. Carrollton Regional may be without power. We're not positive. We're checking on that. But the rest of the hospitals have power, and we expect that that will continue because it's a prioritized power situation, and also they have generators. All right, let's talk about your loved ones in nursing homes. Their licenses require that they have a generator. There are nursing homes that are currently without power and on generator. We have people with Dallas County Health and Human Services calling each of those nursing homes to get their status and to see what help is needed for them. This, unfortunately, will be a multi-day power outage situation, similar to the one that you saw in Harris County and Houston. That does not mean if your power is out right now that it will be out for multiple days. It certainly could be out for multiple days. Encore and everyone else will prioritize the critical infrastructure, hospitals, police stations, things that need to have power, even more so than our homes do. And then they will prioritize the people whose power they can get on the quickest, looking at where the population density is, right, to get as many people back on as possible rather. What I'm going to ask you to consider doing, which I've already done for some of my family, is if they're in one of the areas without power, get together and try to be accommodating to people, because this is going to be unfortunately longer than we've seen here in a while, and a lot of the places that are without power are going to include hotels and things of that nature. We'll continue working with Encore and with all of our cities on this. The cities will be opening places, cooling stations in their rec centers. The chief may already have a list of some of those that are already open. We'll look at points of distribution should people need that. Let me talk to you about water safety right now. We don't have any water plants, and that's one of the top things on infrastructure. Any water treatment plants that are currently not operational, and that's really right there at the very top. So you don't have to worry about drinking your water. Even if your power is out, your electricity doesn't have anything to do with the cleanliness of your water you can drink, from your faucet there. With that, I know you probably have a bunch of questions. I'm going to turn it over to Grant Cruz with Encore to talk to you a little bit about the additional weather impacts and generator safety for those of you who have generators. Grant.
Good morning, everyone. So around 5 a.m. early this morning, a storm system developed that began northwest of our service territory. It then crossed over the Metroplex and began moving southeast towards our Tyler region. These storms produced baseball-sized hail, winds in excess of 80 miles per hour, and a significant amount of cloud-to-ground lightning. As of 11:30, we are seeing around, more than 600,000 customers that are out. Our teams immediately mobilized. They were pre-positioned and began working on some of those critical facilities that the judge mentioned. We also have a lot of assessment crews that are out right now looking at the more isolated outages and beginning the work to address those also. As the judge already stated, we are expecting a multi-day event. The storm has not moved out, and we are expecting more severe weather today and in the following days. So we understand this is a very frustrating time for folks to be without power. We are asking for your patience and your help to, as much as you can, as much as it is safe to do so, stay off the roads. Our crews need room to work. They are going to be out working long hours to get everybody back on. So we really need help to, if you have to get on the road, give those folks a wide berth and make sure you're paying attention to their safety and yours as well. We also encourage people to check in with their loved ones, elderly relatives who might be without power. We definitely want everybody to kind of stay informed, and as you can, open up your house if you have power to folks who don't. If you're without power, look at options to potentially move someplace where power is available. Also want to talk a little bit about the potential for down lines. We did have a significant number of down lines because of this weather event. In many cases, it's not going to be simple repairs. We're looking at complete reconstruction for parts of our area. I do want to say that we have already requested assistance from utilities across Texas. We are also calling in crews potentially from out of state. We've also made contact with those mutual assistance resources. So we are working to get them in here as quickly as possible. We have also created staging sites for equipment to be moved in so that it can quickly be moved out to where it's needed. Those laydown yards will have things like transformers, new poles, things that we need to get parts of our system rebuilt as quickly and as safely as possible. Again, I just want to reiterate, if you can, avoid driving through the impacted areas. That will be where our crews are. That will be where other emergency management officials are. If you have to drive through there, please look out for them. Give them a wide berth to work. We'll continue updating our customers through our social media channels all day and through the following days as things develop. We want to let people know if you need to report an outage, the best way to get in touch with us is texting us to 66267. Just text OUT out. You can also use the My Encore app and visit encore.com to get updates on where we stand with the outages and also report it to us if you have an outage. So again, I understand this is really frustrating. We really appreciate everybody's patience as we work through the next several days to get everybody back online.
Chief Forster.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Grant. Hi, I'm Scott Forster. I wanted to talk about the partnership. Now, when we have an incident that's of this magnitude, our partners are very important. We work really close with all of the infrastructure partners, the city emergency managers, and our VOAD partners. Right now, the cities are out doing damage assessment. They're out taking care of folks that may be in temporary evacuation sites and making sure that those folks have a place to be right now and to be safe. Over these next couple of days, we'll continue to work with our partners in planning for all kinds of things that maybe our citizens may need, to work with our infrastructure partners to ensure that they have the support that they need for power, water, restoration, and all those other things that come along with recovering from an emergency or a disaster. Again, I want to echo what the judge said and what Grant said. We want to be safe. We want to make sure we stay away from down power lines. Assume every line that is down is live. We want to have generator safety. If you have a portable generator at your house, don't run it in your house. Don't run it in your garage. Make sure it's outside. We don't want to see anybody else become sick or injured or something bad outside of this incident that could be prevented. So just know that there's a collaboration between our partners trying to resolve this, and we care about everybody's safety and security. So we want to make sure that we're out there doing everything that we can. Thank you.
Thanks. One other important announcement, and then we'll take questions. Today is Election Day, as you all know, for both the Democratic runoffs and the Republican runoffs. In Dallas County, and also in Denton and in Collin and in Tarrant County, for sure. I'm not sure about every county in the area. I think Ellis County is another one. We have what's called county-wide voting. So what that means is if your polling place, that school down the street from your house doesn't work, you can go somewhere else to vote. And in Dallas County, we currently have 103 locations that are without power, but we have 180 locations that still have power. I'm talking about election locations. And that gives you a feel also for just how damaged our power grid here, our lines here in Dallas are, that 103 of those locations are without power. They're not currently closed, but they're currently unable to vote there. And they will likely be closed in the coming hours as it becomes apparent that power can't be restored. But you can go to one of these 180 places. You'll be able to find those map showing what's open at Dallas County Elections social media pages, and we'll also repost that on my social media pages. All right. And with that, we'll take any questions you may have.
Judge, with more weather expected tonight and throughout the rest of this week, will your disaster declaration have to be changed in any way, shape, or form with more damage, or is this kind of all-encompassing?
This is all-encompassing. So we'll be continuing to be out there and look for new damage, but this is a disaster declaration. This covers us.
How unusual is the damage that we're seeing out there with the power grid? We saw a bunch of trees down, glass broken out windows just by that storm last night.
Well, the damage itself is not unusual because we do have straight line winds frequently here in North Texas. The extent of the damage and the number of customers affected is unusual. I've been doing this for 14 years, and I don't remember ever having a multi-day event quite like this one.
Yeah, Grant, from the power perspective, I know you said that several of these lines are going to have to essentially kind of be rebuilt, a lot of this infrastructure. Is that something that we often see in these situations, or I mean, does this gauge worse than some of the past, damage events you've seen?
Well, I would echo what the judge said. Downed lines are typical with these kind of storms when you have very strong straight line winds. I know we worked a couple of very big events back in 2019 when we had some severe straight line winds back early in the summer, and then a tornado hit Dallas a few months later. So those kind of events that bring down power lines are not unusual, and we can get those rebuilt and restored efficiently and safely. The coverage of the area was unusual, and so yeah, I do want to echo, treat every downed line as if it is energized. As you can avoid it, don't go outside to remove debris at this point. You should assume that that debris and those limbs and branches might be hiding a hanging or downed power line that may still have power. So as much as it's possible, stay inside your home and stay safe.
And that includes your kids. Please keep your kids in the house at least for the next few hours until we can figure out exactly what's happening out there. So some of y'all probably reported on, we had two young men, sadly, who there was a down power line that was still energized. This is over in, I believe, Tarrant County, This was a couple of years ago, and that line was about 4 feet, and the kids didn't see it in the trees, ran right into it. We had a young man who passed away in DeSoto, went out to play, and got on some trees near that were fallen near a creek bed, and fell in a few years ago, and so it's not safe. I had to drive around several trees to get from where I was before this event to come here and talk to you. It's not safe for kids to be out exploring in this right now. What else does anybody have?
Grant, when you talk about possible multi-day event with power lines down, is there any main transmission lines down as far as going from generation to substation, or is this all like past substation within neighborhoods and just the broad effect of trees in neighborhoods and lines down everywhere? Can you talk to me about kind of the both?
So that's part of, we're still in that assessment phase to determine how much of the damage is to distribution facilities, how much is impacting our transmission infrastructures. We will be analyzing that, but I think part of also what we're looking at as far as a multi-day restoration is these storms haven't stopped yet. We're still experiencing weather that's moving in, and so there will be some stop and stop to the work. Our employees are putting their safety first, which is our highest priority, along with our customers. So as new weather moves in, anytime you have ground softening with previous rains and then you have another round of high winds that move through, it's going to make it a lot easier for trees to get pushed over and down more lines that may have just been put back up. So I definitely understand it's frustrating that there's not a lot of answers right now, but we are working. We've been working all night, and we will continue working around the clock until everybody is back on.
Is there anything that people can do preventative as more storms are coming into play, as far as, if you start to see some trees that may need to be trimmed now, let's get them done before the next round of storms?
Well, the storms we expect will have more storm. The question was, is there any tree trimming or things you can do now to protect yourself? Frankly, right now in this storm, probably not, because we expect more significant winds as early as late afternoon or early evening, and the weather forecasts are not exact, so it's really not a great time to be up in trees or do any of that. I will remind you to ask people to go check on those elderly neighbors. If you don't have power, she probably doesn't have power either, so please check on those folks. And just the main thing you can do is be patient. Be patient. Help your family. If you've got power and they don't, help your family and your friends. And be patient and report things to us. Let us know. We'll put that Encore out text message and their website on our county links and social media as well. And just be patient. Let us know what is happening out there. Don't be afraid to leave your house. Our law enforcement will be very vigilant in the neighborhoods that are without power. You don't have to stay in a hot house for days to protect your belongings. We're going to be doing our best to make sure that those neighborhoods are kept safe, and this is not a good time for anybody to try to test us on looting. Those folks will be found, and we'll move against them swiftly if that were to occur. So the main thing is keep yourself and your family safe. Stay off the roads, please. It's just not safe right now.
Judge, going back to the hospital, that situation, what happens if they are without power? What's the game plan for the patients there?
Sure.
And what information can you give us on the hospital itself?
Sure. So all of our hospitals have generators. And so when I say a hospital may be without power, when I'm talking about a hospital, not a nursing home, but a hospital, they're not actually without the lights and the air conditioner running. They're on generator. Now, when a hospital is on generator, some of the things that are happening in the hospital, like elective surgeries, are going to immediately be put on hold. Only life-saving procedures would be done. And so we don't want a situation where they're even on generator. And so we may have one that's on generator right now. We're working quickly to fix that. The system is built, the electrical system is built so that there are ways to quickly get on the energy to critical infrastructure, water treatment stations, hospitals, police stations, things of that nature. It's built with redundancies in it. So if the power lines are down here, we can get that power in over here. Now, that's not the way your house works, unfortunately. So your house has a power line going to it. If a tree knocked that line down, it's going to take us repairing that. And it may be, unfortunately, going to your neighborhood or your house, it may be more than just one break. And so we really need your patience. I can tell you, Encore is working very hard. Everyone is going to work very hard around the clock until we can get your power restored. Thank you.
For Encore, as far as getting mutual aid in here, there's other places without power right now nearby. Is it going to be difficult to get extra help from the outside to come in and help get the power back on?
So mutual assistance is an important part of what our industry does to support each other and make sure that power is delivered reliably to people. So we are asking for help out of state, parts that aren't dealing with the same thing, and those resources will be quickly assembled, and we'll make all the plans to be able to host them, get them fed, and so make sure that they're coming in 100% when they hit the streets of our region. I do want to reiterate that there's a difference between texting an outage or contacting us about an outage and if you see a down power line. We definitely want people, if you see a down power line, call 911. If you have an outage at your home, that's the time to get in touch with us. But it's also important to remember that even as our equipment is restored and put back into service, some people will find that they still don't have power. Some equipment belonging to the customer could be damaged by falling trees and things like that will require a private electrician to come out, and it could in some cases require a city inspection. So for lots of people it is going to be a tough potential couple of days. So we just want to remind people of those important points that we are working quickly. We are trying to bring people into the state and keep everybody safe, but you should plan for extended outages in some parts.
Will there be a curfew implemented tonight, or more officers on patrol in the areas that don't have electricity?
The question is whether there'll be a curfew implemented in that, and whether there'll be more officers on patrol in areas without electricity. The curfew is undetermined at this time. If we don't need it, we won't have that, but it's undetermined. Yes, there will be more officers than normal in areas without electricity. You should feel comfortable locking up your house and going somewhere else because it may be a while before we can get your power back on. Thank y'all all so much for coming, and we'll put it out there as soon as we know anything. Thank y'all.